Alright, hello and welcome. So today we're going to talk a little bit about certifications for Google. So as educators, you guys have quite a few different options available to you. And I'm going to kind of bring over a Google Chrome right here, and we're going to kind of take you through this. So the easiest way to get to the certifications is basically just to go to Google and type in Google certification. From here you can just look for this Education Training Center here, and you can click on this link. I also have these links at the bottom of my website, and I'll include them on this video as well. So we have Google basically has 5 different certifications available in total. 4 are for educators and 1 is for your whoever's maintaining or managing your Google Apps for Education domain. So that could be a tech staff, or it could be a teacher that's in charge of running that Google Apps for Education domain. I've kind of seen it go both ways here. The basics behind it, though, are you have your Google Educator Level 1, Google Educator Level 2, you have your Certified Trainer, Certified Innovator, and then you have your Google Admin certification. I'm going to click on the Educator Level 1. As you can see, we have everything come up right here on the side here. And the differences between these exams are basically that with your Google Certified Educator Level 1, that's an exam just based on your core apps. So your Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, Google Classroom, Forms, those ones that come in your core Google Apps for Education. Your Level 2 is going to be a much more broad look at Google Apps for Education. So it's going to focus more on the Google Apps for Education not within the core, such as your Google Tour Builder, Google Scholar, Google Books, Google's Blogger, a couple of add-ons, a whole bunch of others like that that are outside of your core apps for education. Now, obviously, I recommend that teachers try to go for both, because in the training process, you're going to learn a lot. So with your Google Educator Level 1, I would expect that most teachers could probably already pass this if your district is a Google Apps for Education domain. It's pretty simple exam, pretty straightforward, just kind of gives you a few questions in the beginning of the test about how Google Apps for Education will affect the classroom, or could affect the classroom, and then you basically will be given a fictitious account where Google will have you log in and perform a bunch of tasks within a bunch of pre-made apps. So they might ask you to go into a certain doc, sheet, form, and make some changes, edits, things like that. They'll kind of tell you what it is that they want you to do. They give you 2.5 hours for the exam. Google Educator Level 1 costs $10. Once you pass it, you are certified for 2 years. There is a training that'll help you to basically go through and learn everything you need for the exam. Just come right in here, go through each one of these modules. They say that they take like 34, 79, 85 minutes. I didn't find that they actually took that long. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. I thought most of them were pretty easy to go through. They've got a couple of videos in there. There's a little bit of reading, and then there's a couple of practice questions in there for you as well. But again, I found it to be really pretty easy, as well as educational at the same time. I think that no matter where your skill level is, going through the training, you're still going to learn something in there. The Level 2 is the same way. You have your own training courses specifically for the Level 2, which you can take through, and then you can basically take those and then go and play with all of the new apps for education and add-ons and stuff that you learn about within the training. This one does cost $25, so it's a little bit more expensive. However, again, you are then certified for 2 years, and you could get both Level 1 and Level 2, basically put 2 certifications under your belt right there. And both of them, realistically, I think in the grand scheme of things, are pretty easy. Now, once you get to the Certified Trainer and Innovator, this is where things get much more difficult. Your certified trainer, in my opinion, is probably the most prestigious of the 4 teacher exams, because this one you really have to go through the most, I think, to maintain your certification, as well as the certified trainer will basically make you basically nationally recognized. You'll get put into a database with Google so people can actually look in different areas for Google trainers and allow people to search you out and ask you questions. So they might email you or find you on Google Plus and then send you questions, things like that. In order to get Google certified, trainer certified, you have to do a couple of things. The first thing is you have to take the Trainer Essentials exams. So it has a note right here: Google Certified Educator Level 1 and 2 are not valid for this application. So I'm going to open this up in a new tab and just kind of show you what you need to do for this one. So you come in here, and again, there are training courses for this, as well as exams. So you can go through the training courses first and then take the exams. Whoops. I should have gone to C courses. Here we go. So what you need to do is you actually need to take an exam on Gmail, Google Calendar, Sites, Docs and Drive, and then you have to select from one of these 4 and take one elective exam. Now, when I went through and did this, I did the Chromebooks one, mainly because I'm an IT staff and I fix the Chromebooks, so that was much easier for me. For you, though, you might find that the Google Play for Education or the Android tablets for education or even the Chrome browser in general is easier for you to take. Each of these exams is 60 questions, and they're much more difficult than the Educator Level 1 and Level 2. These basically will focus all questions onto a single application, such as Gmail, Calendars, Sites, Docs and Drive, and then whichever one of the electives that you choose. Basically, these will test to make sure that you are an expert in these, and again, if you're not an expert now, you can easily become an expert by taking all of these prep courses. Even if you don't necessarily want to get this certification, it might be a good idea just to take these prep courses just for you to learn a little bit more. Now, once you have taken all of these exams, which these exams cost $15 each, which can add up a little bit, although some schools may reimburse you for taking those exams. Once you've taken those exams, then you have to basically put in an application. There are 3 steps to the application. 1, there's your training experience. We'll open up this example page right here. And basically the training experience wants you to go through and not only put down what trainings you have done in the past, but also what trainings you've attended, what types of things you do for your own personal growth, and miscellaneous things that you do just to improve yourself and your school. Once you have that completed, you'll create a 3-minute video introducing yourself and doing a small 2 minutes on just training on a Google Apps for Education app. Alright, and this is just so that they can see your training style and how you go about the basic training. The last thing you'll do is you'll do a training strategy. This training strategy basically has you go through and create basically, just as it says, a training strategy. So you name your school, basically what the challenges your school was having and in need of address, and the basis of engagement with you. Then you basically go through the training program that you basically create for them. You go into any insights that you have, and again, you can see they put in all of this stuff to kind of help you better understand what they're looking for, and then you put in the overall impact, and that's it. And so you can do this with a training that you've already done or one that you're planning on doing, although then you would have to wait long enough to gain some insight on how the training went. So keep that in mind. After that, you basically put in your application, and there are various application deadlines. So basically, they take a look at these at various times throughout the year. So an application deadline may go, and then they may have a couple of weeks to take a look, select who all they want as Google trainers, and then let you know how you whether or not they accepted you or not. If they didn't, you can always reapply. And if you did make it, well then congratulations. Now you're on to the harder part, in my opinion, Obviously, I'm a tech, so this is harder for me. For a lot of teachers, this is a lot easier. Maintaining your trainer status, you have to always hold valid subject matter certificates. Those are those tests we talked about earlier. So you have to make sure that you maintain those certification tests by retaking them every, I think it's 18 months or 2 years for those ones. You have to conduct at least 3 professional development activities on Google for education tools every quarter. You need to report all of your training activities and evaluations quarterly, and contribute at least 1 resource per year to the Google Trainer community, as well as collect data on training sessions and use that information to better yourself. I think most of us do that anyway. One thing to keep in mind, though, is that when you get this specific certification, it opens up a huge amount of doors for you to be able to get more information. The Google trainers have their own community that they talk within each other. So if there is something that you don't know that a staff member is asking you, they really want to go in depth on something, you can basically go to your trainer community and ask them questions, and you can get some really good detailed answers, some of them even better than what you might get within the GEGs, the Google Education Groups for schools. So this is a really nice one to get. The Google Certified Innovator, some may argue that it's harder to get than the trainer, which in some ways is true, but not nearly as prestigious in my opinion. The Google Certified Innovator basically is you have to have at least the Google Certified Educator Level 2 up here, and then you basically have to put in an application. Now, this application basically has to show Google that you have done some type of innovation in the classroom or within your district. So they only select so many people per year to become a Google Innovator. So right down here, you can also see that after you get selected, you will have to go to one of these Google Academies. And like this year, right now, they have it in Mountain View, California. Not sure when the next one is actually going to happen. I'm not sure how many they select per year. I think it might only be twice a year that they do the selection process, which makes it much harder to actually become a Google Innovator. Whereas again, the prestige is not quite there. You're not taking exams with the Innovator, so you're not looked at as the guru that the trainers are. The trainers are basically your gurus, while your innovators are those that are finding new ways of doing something different inside the classroom using the Google Apps for Education. Again, this one, though, once you get certified, you are certified for life. You don't have to do any type of recertification, which is kind of nice, but again, a little bit more difficult to actually get accepted. Now, the last certification, the 5th certification that I was talking about in the beginning, will only really be relevant for those that are running their district's Google Apps for Education. Now, there are teachers that are doing that, where they're the ones that go in and create the accounts, delete the accounts, and manage the entire Google Apps for Education. If you are one of those teachers, or if you are a technician who happens to be watching this, there is a specific certification for the Google admins, and there is a training course for this as well. There is a cost for this. This is probably the most hefty cost. I think with the Google Trainer, you take all those certifications, it adds up to about $90, so it's pretty close, pretty comparable. But the Google admin exam costs $100. Every now and again, you can find online maybe a code or something to reduce that price. I know that when I took mine, there was a code to reduce it to $50, but it was only passed around the community for Google admins. I also recommend that for all of these certifications that not only do you look at taking them, but also recommend to your students that they take at least the Google Educator Level 1. If they're a tech student trying to get into the tech field, maybe you want to suggest to them the Google Admin certification. With the Google Admin certification, you can take the course, which has quite a bit to it, and you do need to know everything from how to make and delete user accounts, maintain and manage groups, policies, the rules for everybody, as well as the email routing and how to manage and change email routing within the Google domain. Every bit of that is covered in this Google training right here. When you click on this right here, you can actually see just how many modules there really are. I believe it took me about a little under a week to go through all of these, just to make sure that there wasn't anything in there that I didn't already know. For those of you that are already maintaining a domain and do this on a daily basis, it's a really easy exam for you guys. You'll probably whip through this pretty quick. I still recommend going through the training just to make sure that there isn't anything new that you didn't know about. There were a couple of things in here that I learned quite a bit about with the mobile devices, which was really kind of fun to learn about. So again, I recommend that. And again, teachers, recommend to your students that they get the level 1. I recommend all teachers going ahead and getting this, and then at least go through some of the trainings. A lot of your teachers, if they don't want the certification, at least maybe recommend that they go through the training. You can learn a lot about different things like the different add-ons, apps that are out there, as well as how to find trainers in your area, how to find Google reference schools, how to find different Google trainers or innovators to ask questions, as well as the GEGs that I was kind of mentioning earlier, the Google Education Groups. Every state has multiple groups for different locations, and those groups will get together and they will do learning together, or they will just communicate a lot with each other and tell each other how they're doing different things in the classroom, new things that they found for the classroom. In our state, we've even seen people post different grants that are available within our state to go for and things like that. So it's really worthwhile learning a little bit about those and how to become a member of one of those so that you can kind of keep an eye on what's going on out there. Also for admins, there is a GAFE, or Google Apps for Education, IT group. And then look around in your state too, because some states have a tech group just for the state. I know we have a Wisconsin DPI tech group that many of us are a part of, and we communicate quite a bit. It's a great way to pass information along, ask questions, and solve issues a lot faster. I hope you found this educational, and I hope that this helps you out. Good luck, and hope to see you in the forums.